Hello and welcome to our weekly IG Lives. As always, we are going to be joined by author Deedee Cummings, but we also have a special guest today. I'm very excited because we are going to be joined by Tonya Tabari. Hopefully I'm pronouncing her name correctly, or she can correct me when she gets on. But there you are. Hold on. I'll get her on here, and Deedee will be joining us shortly. A storyteller, an editor, a book reviewer, and she has chosen a really exciting topic, which is children's books as community care. Hello.
Hi, how are you, Leanna?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. This is like close to Friday, but
Yes,
I was
almost
hoping
there.
it was Friday, but I lost track of the days and I'm like, okay, I'll take it.
Don't tell me, did I pronounce your name correctly? Could you say it for me?
Yes, it's Tonya Tabari.
Tonya Tabari. Great. Well, while we're waiting for Deedee, I don't think she's on quite yet. Do you want to go ahead and just introduce yourself and maybe introduce our topic?
Sure. For everyone on the call, I am Tonya Tabari, and I am a writer, author with forthcoming books coming out. Hi, D Nice. Um, and also a homeschooling mom. So all the things, all the things. Um, I am very excited to be here. I participated in the Louisville Book Festival the first year, and I was telling Deedee that I was so excited to come in person, and then the world the way it is.
Right.
Hopefully, we'll be able to make that happen because I would love to just meet and give hugs in person.
Me too. Hey, everybody.
Hi.
So
Oh,
happy to.
and what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about books, children's books in particular, as community care.
Can you tell us what does that mean exactly?
Okay, so community care, that refers to both the small and the large scale things that we can do to support individuals or groups of people, selected groups of people. So, for instance, a lot of people put a lot of stock into, okay, self-care,
Mm-hmm.
but we oftentimes forget that community care and the love and appreciation from our communities is what really allows us to be able to have the the freedom to practice self-care. So community care can come in the form of many different things. Anything could be like I said, very small or something that's large, but it's something that you're doing to support someone, to make them feel good about themselves, to encourage positivity in their life, or to, I guess, support could mean financial support as well. But it's something that you do, an action that you do, so that you're contributing to that individual person or a group of people. And of course, that in turn helps the society as a whole. Because when we're whole and when we feel good and when we feel supported, we're able to contribute and give back to other people and just keep putting into that pot.
I love this topic because I was talking about this in a book club that I'm in, and we were talking about how our society, especially like the European tradition, the white tradition, it tends to be very individualistic. Kind of like
Mm-hmm.
you talked about, we're just focusing on self-care and we don't think about the community. Whereas a lot of other traditions, like African American, and especially if you go back to Africa, it's much more focused on relationships and community. And a lot of times we forget that part. So I just love that how you're bringing this in and tying it into children's books too is really interesting perspective.
Yes. And yeah, you bring up that point. And I want to just thank, first of all, Deedee, because um, as some of you may know on the call, I had a baby in November. And
Congrats.
thank you. And really, my world kind of turned upside down after having this beautiful bundle of joy. And what made me think about this topic was Deedee sent her entire catalog of Kayla's for my oldest to read during this time. And I thought about, just this Deedee sending books so that my oldest daughter could just dive in, because she loves reading. She loves the Kayla stories, by the way. Thank you, Deedee, again.
Yeah.
But just that small action was a part of my community care, was a part of how I was able to get my family interested in reading and take our mind off kind of some of the other things that were happening during that time, during that turbulent time. So that's, Deedee is the prime example of books as community care. She's providing our youth and adults alike, because I love the books. But she's providing an opportunity as an author for us to just see. She's providing those windows and mirrors so that we can come together as a community and talk about especially some issues that are really, really prevalent in our society today. And I think that's amazing what authors do. And usually we don't correlate the two and connect them together, but it's very powerful when you do.
Now, I really saying that. I'm a little, I mean, I know people say words like this all the time, but I mean it. I'm just a little overwhelmed by you saying that, because sometimes we just do things that are on our heart to do and we don't realize the total impact or what it means to somebody else. So I really appreciate you saying that. You've just been on my mind, as I told you when we talked. You've been on my mind for a while, and somebody that I just really, really want to connect with. The one thing that I do like about social media is that I've met all of these people from all over the world. Like Leanna, I consider you a friend. Tonya, I consider you a friend, and I've never met you all in person. So for all the bad things people have to say about social media, there's a great example. And I just really appreciate you saying that, because one of the things I tell people all the time is that in the author world, I felt really alone on my journey, because I'm a self-published author and I didn't really have this team of people around me. And it really started with Multicultural Children's Book Day. That's how I first met you, Tonya. I don't know if you remember that, but Tonya reviewed one of my books through Multicultural Book Day, HBCU that I went to, called I Want to Be a Bennett Bell. And that was my first interaction with Tonya. And then, of course, Leanna, I met you too through Multicultural Children's Book Day. But because of organizations like that, whose sole purpose is to get diverse books into the hands of teachers and kids, I've been able to meet all of these people literally from around the world. I think about Serge too. I don't know if you all know the picture book guy from Australia. But thank you so much for saying that. And I've been thinking a lot too, and I told Tonya I wasn't going to talk a lot on here because people hear me talk every single week. But as I was thinking about this topic, I do have to get this off my heart. In 2020, unfortunately, this horrible incident happened where the whole world kind of couldn't breathe as we watched this horrible incident happen to a Black man named George Floyd. And during that time, everyone was so shocked and horrified, rightly so. But all of a sudden, everybody was talking about amplifying Black voices and making sure that Black people have as much of an opportunity to be heard as everyone else, that our stories matter, and also that people from other cultures too, not just Black people, be exposed as much as possible to Black stories, because it humanizes Black people. I can't even believe I even have to say something like that, but it humanizes Black people to people who don't always come into contact a lot with Black people. And already you can tell, like, everybody thinks the pandemic is over now in 2022 and everybody's back to business as usual. And we don't see that same sense of urgency. And Black people are still here. We're still experiencing the same things. Nothing has changed for us. And I just don't want the world to move on. And for me, books are an essential part of that piece of community care. I tell people all the time, people say they never even thought about this. Buy the whole catalog of a Black author's books and donate them to a daycare, a barbershop, a community center, a school. Don't donate them to a school with a room full of Black children. Well, do that too. But I'm saying don't just think about donating them to a school with a room full of Black children, because white children need these books just as much as Black children do. One of the things I always say is, Reading books with characters who look like you builds your esteem. Reading books with characters who don't look like you builds your empathy. And I just don't want our world to just, everybody talks about getting back to normal, whatever that is. I'm great with everybody going back to work and all that. That's wonderful. But please, let's not lose this momentum and this feeling that we had. Nothing has changed as far as race relations go in 2020. In fact, I would venture to say, after watching these Supreme Court hearings this week, race relations continue to deteriorate. So, I love this concept that Tonya came up with that she wants to talk about today. So I just wanted to say this, and then I'm going to back off for a little bit. But books as community care is essential on the local level, like you see, is what Tonya was talking about, how it had an impact on her family. But across the world, we need to make sure that we don't lose this momentum that we had where everybody was on board with amplifying Black voices. We're still here. We're still facing the same adversity. We still need you.
Thank you, Deedee.
Yes, I mean that's such a great point, because it does feel like we've lost momentum, and if anything, you've kind of started to go backwards as far as book bannings and all that. So, Tonya, you want to jump in as far as why you think this is such an important topic?
I think it's such an important topic because our future is in the hands of these little ones. They are the ones that, unfortunately, I say, excuse my French, but us older folks have plucked up the planet. I'll use the word pluck, but and now, we don't want to leave all of this strife and things for our young folks to fix, but they are literally the ones that can change this and turn this around. And so I think children's books are super important because of that reason. Child readers are born on the laps of their parents. So even if you can give anything else to your kids, you can give them knowledge, you can give them hope, you can give them empathy, and that can come through books, and Deedee mentioned, the banned books, and which is, that's not the topic today, so I will spare my rant on that. But, in my house, there's no such thing as banned books. We know this because we have had to teach hard histories to our children and make sure that they understand all different sides of the world. But I feel like, hey, we can push back against this by encouraging reading and encouraging these books to be taught. If they're not going to be taught in the schools, which is an institution, let's do it at home. Let's do it in our communities. We can still find ways to reach young ones and to put truth and to put imagination into them so that they can change this world, because they are the ones. They're it. I tell my daughters all the time, I'm the vessel, you guys are the lights, and you guys are gonna, set fire. That's what I'm raising you as, to be bold, to be strong, and to also be tender, and to be empathetic, to be compassionate. And I think that, we learn a lot of those lessons in books, without me having to outright say, because it is, as a Black parent, especially, we watch the news and we see these things happening, and it's like in the pit of our stomach, we're like, I don't want to have to talk to my child about this, but we know we have to. And so for us in our household, books have been just a way to open up that dialogue, even with the very youngest of children, just to be able to open up that dialogue so that when they're out in the community, when they're out and amongst their friends and amongst in school and all of those things, that they have the knowledge and they have the support that they got from home. So, and if they aren't getting it from home, that's where community comes in. That's where your schools, your social workers, your therapists. God bless the therapist. Bless you, Deedee. Yes. And so, that's where we get it from. And Deedee mentioned, how to support, Black authors. Like, if you don't have money to support Black authors, what you can do is you can call your local library and request books. That is free 99. Call the local libraries and submit book requests to your local libraries. Even if you cannot afford to actually pay for a book, there's always a way to support black stories and black authors. Always, always, always.
That's such a great point, because I think sometimes people, if they don't have enough money to go out and buy all these books, they're not really sure what else they can do. So that's a great example. Social media, leave
Yes.
reviews for books. If there's ones that you've read in the library, you can always go and leave a review for them. That always helps. So if somebody, because I love how you talked about the fact that, like, children's books is community care in terms of getting those books into the hands of more kids. Like you said, donating to a daycare or to a school, or just the fact that reading these stories with our kids, they're going to be taking care of their community because of the ideas they've gotten out of the books.
Right.
What would you say to somebody who's watching this and saying, okay, I really want to get involved, I want to do something? What are some practical things, like the ones you've mentioned? What are some things that they can do or they can be thinking about if they want to do this also?
Okay. So first and foremost, we all are online and we see all these different holidays. It's a holiday for everything. They have holidays for National Nose Picking Day, I'm sure. Uh, so one thing you can do is you can get on and do a Google search of, picture books for National Nose Picking Day, and match up whatever day that you have. And that's a good opportunity also within your home and the community to set up a tradition, maybe something that you've never done before. I don't know if she's on the call, but Unearthing Joy Together, this is a nature-based co-op here in Nashville that my family loves. Ashley, shout out to you if you're still on the call. I don't know, I saw you jump on, but she does an amazing job of cross-curricular learning with outdoor activities, because yes, especially, Black folks like to be in nature too. So she pulls books to read for, hi Ashley, I see you. So she pulls books for the kids to read, and she goes over the book before they participate in whatever outdoor activity they're going to do for the day. My daughter participated in African American Play Day a few weeks ago. It was a family experience, and she bought the book Juba This, Juba That, and it had all of the games that we love to play as children, that when I was a child, I didn't know there was names to these hand clapping, Miss Mary Mac slide baby games. I didn't even know the cultural history behind that, but she talked a lot about that. And she just bridged the education with just joyful experiences. As kids like to do, and I say we because I have an inner kid. We all should be tapping into that.
Yes.
But as kids, we like to just exist and have fun and be out in the sunshine and not have things that are heavy. So, we do things every day just like everyone else, regardless of, your background. So kids like to get up in the morning, they brush their teeth, they go outside, they play, they like to stick their feet in the dirt, find things that, books by Black authors that have just children existing, enjoying, and loving life is important. So just Google whatever holiday and all those things, grab the books and share the books around that holiday. That's something very simple that that can be done to start this.
Yeah, that's great suggestions. And, I want to challenge parents too to get, there's these terms called like diversify your bookshelf, which I think is just a great kind of thing to put in your head and think about whenever you're shopping for books. Don't always just buy the hottest and most popular book at Christmas time. Buy a book that really tells your family a story that you really want your family to interpret, not just like whatever's the hottest at the time. I also love how this is another great example of, number one, community care, but also two, something very small you can do. I love how anytime a book does get banned, it becomes like the number one on the bestseller. So
Right.
Sides of the coin, I'm saying don't jump on the bandwagon and buy the hottest book, but if the book is banned, there's nothing wrong with jumping on the bandwagon, because the anti-racist baby book came up this week in the Supreme Court hearings, and I keep bringing those up because I don't know if anybody watched those. It's with us. It's staying with us for a little while because those were really tough to watch. And that book came up during the Supreme Court hearing, and people were so just indignant about the way that book was being used that they showed their support for that book. That's a diverse book and should be supported. And now it's #1 on the Amazon bestseller list. But parents should not just read books with diverse characters, and books with Black characters are very important. But books with any character that doesn't look like your family are books that you should be reading when you think about diversifying your bookshelf. It's not just white or Black. It's different kinds of religions, different kinds of abilities. And don't be afraid to read a book to your family that, is a different religion. I think sometimes people think that their child is going to be interested in that religion. Well, what's wrong with being interested in that religion? If you give your child the foundation that they need, they will stay, true to your beliefs, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with learning about other cultures and other people's lives and circumstances. And when you talk about like cultural competency and the fact that one of the key components of being truly culturally competent is making your family aware of other people's cultures, you want to start that foundation through books. It's hard to just sometimes start a conversation with kids. Read the book and the conversation will come pretty easily.
Yes. That part.
If you think that your kids aren't going to find out about these, if you're trying to not read books because you think they're going to have friends who are from different religions and cultures, and wouldn't you rather them get the real story with you when you can talk about it and answer their questions than just what they might hear from some other kid? All these issues, Tonya, and you mentioned that before, that, we can't avoid these hard topics with the kids. We have to talk to them about it, and books are such a great way to do that.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm almost like, I know this is a little comic aside, but as an author, I'm like, wait a minute, go ahead and ban my book, honey, because I'm going to go straight to the bank with that cha-ching.
I know I asked somebody a couple weeks ago, how can I get my book banned?
Right. Okay, that's just me.
Cruz. Send it to Ted Cruz.
Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I want to be respectful of your time because it is coming up on about 25 minutes. So we want to keep it short and sweet for everybody. But Tonya, thank you so much for joining us. This has been so great to have you on here and hear all your thoughts. And this is such an interesting topic too.
Thank you so much, Leanna and Deedee, for having me. I could talk about this for an hour and a half, but the baby is crying. But we just thank you so much. And thank you for all the work that you're doing in the community with your books, with other authors, amplifying, having authors on to speak, having people on to speak. That's community care as well. So just keep doing what you're doing, the both of you, and I appreciate you. And thank you, everybody who joined and said hi. Saw some people say hi, and I didn't get a chance to wave, but thank you so much for coming. And please, keep in contact. I'm very friendly. I'm an introverted extrovert. So online, though, I'm like very extroverted. So slide in my DMs, talk to me. If you got questions, hit me up. I see Robert Powell Sr. Okay, I'm a friend you too. Hit me up. I'm that person with that, and anything I can do to support any authors on the call or anyone that needs a lift, I'm here. I got you.
And she means that too. She means that for me. So I'm so happy to see your face, Tonya.
Yes.
That you
it's all bare. I didn't have a chance to put on no makeup or nothing.
You look beautiful.
You don't need to. You look beautiful.
Have you back just to talk about banned books one day?
Yes. I'm gonna need an hour for that though. I'm gonna need an hour.
Thank you, ladies. I appreciate you both.
So much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.